Good evening and welcome back to the We Rise show, where common sense is now considered a fringe ideology, and asking follow-up questions seems to me is apparently an act of rebellion. Yes, you can't ask anything, you can't say anything, you can't follow up. It's gotten to the point where anything that you say or do is fringe, no matter what it is, especially what's going on, what we're seeing right now currently, of what is taking place at the G7, what is happening right now, President Trump, with this whole Iran deal, this memorandum of understanding. You know what I can understand from this? It's not working for Israel. No, no, no. Israel's on the clock, as the NFL says. They're on the clock. What does that mean? Are they going to pull a U.S. Liberty false flag attack? You bet your ass. Are they going to pull something like a 9/11? Well, Laura Loomer, for the last 3 months, has been like, incoming false flag, false flag, false flag. And you know, you got those big fucking bloated lips attached to a Mossad dick somewhere. So you know, we're waiting for it. The invitation to arrive is going to a party where no one's alive. Yes, it is coming. This deal that has taken place, that has been signed, has cut Israel out. And we're about to see something of a reckoning. And that reckoning will be what? What follows with it? What follows from it? I think so. Tonight's show, the age of managed chaos, war, markets, and the new narrative. Trump unites us in outrage. Yes, he does. In all his outrage and everything he does, I can tell you right now, he does this so eloquently. And he gives us so much for us to understand and posit. And I think it's glorious. I think it's fantastic. And we should all sit back and enjoy it. Let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. How you doing? What's up?
Doing good, man. Everybody get ready. Friday, we're playing Australia. United States playing Australia in the world. And it's at 3 o'clock, so you won't miss the show or any of that. So Keep that. Make a note of that. I mean, if you're not into it, I mean, hell, I love seeing all this stuff, you know, and all these people that are visiting.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I like I said, I don't. Like I said, I'm not into UFC. I'm not into soccer, but I was completely blown away with the UFC thing. I was completely mesmerized on how well that went. It went off without a hitch. It was great entertainment. I enjoyed it thoroughly. If I have some time, I'll watch a little bit of soccer. Obviously, you're going to support the USA. I saw a couple of congressmen, third worlders, congressmen, voting for supporting for Mexico. They were on some local station, CNN or something. They were what do you call it? So they were on with Mexico and something, and they were like, I'm like, seriously, you're a United States congressman, and from your shit world country, you sit here and say I'm rooting for them. This is the problem. Dual passports, they all got to go. I'm sick of these people. I'm sick of all of it. And the Iran deal, as we'll break down, there's a 14-point memorandum. I'm not going to really go through it too much. All I know is that it's egregiously set up in favor for Iran, okay? But that's what you're led to believe, okay? And I think that the propaganda and the agitprop is tooling that way, because you could see how people are just melting. They're melting. They cannot handle this in some ways. And I think there's going to be so much more. And yes, this is about what? The global infrastructure. What makes the world go around? We're going to cover that. Yes, James, gas is going back to $3. That's the whole point. Well, I have a whole thing that I'm going to discuss on that. Welcome in pill.net. Welcome in YouTube. Welcome in Rumble. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the platform. All your money, all your donations help support this, keep this going. I mean, honestly, it runs on fumes based upon you, and I put everything into it I can to keep this baby alive. I make nothing out of it. I have my own life, my own job and stuff. I continue on that. Help us out on Rumble as well if you want to support Marshall, Ko-Fi.com /SurfDog74, or you can buy me at coffee.com/WeAreRise. We're going into other stuff that I'm going to discuss. I have a lot of good videos between yesterday and today. You saw me on Thomas's show on True Reporting. I had a lot of different viewpoints and attitudes about how I projected this and how I see this war and unfolding, and it has many different machinations. But I think in some way we should be asking these questions. Is it a trap? For who and for whom? That's number one. Is it a psyop? for who and for whom? This peace deal, or is it a reset of the clock? When I said Israel's on the clock, what do I mean by that? Well, that's an NFL terminology. That's a linguistics they use, that the team is next up to select who they're going to choose in the draft. So when I say they're on the clock, I mean they're on the clock for what? Whatever's going to happen, all right, from their standpoint, because they don't like this deal at all. So the new narrative, the new game change, the great gambit, Hannity is putting out, this thing is a massive gambit. The question is, if you understand what gambit means, it's a ruse, it's a scheme, it's a trick. But again, I digress and I say, who is this scheme and trick for? I mean, a lot of people thinking there's no way Iran is going to adhere to this one bit, one iota. We're already bombing them now. So the 60-day window has already been violated. There's already other hiccups left and right. But the point is, don't be, let's just say, swayed from the idea that this deal that seems so convenient, too convenient, suspiciously convenient, is a lesson in what? As President Trump told us, in meritocracy, meritocracy in some ways. He's like, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. It's performance driven. And we're going to break all that down. But I just want to be careful about how we're going to discuss this tonight, because I think the memorandum, the renegotiation after 60 days, and that window, which is a big window, that's 2 months, okay, of deliberation, is going to trigger a lot more than you think that's going to come out of it. So whatever that deal is signed, it's not guaranteed, okay? It's not. There'll be a renegotiation later on about this deal. And this deal is obviously not for Israel. And Trump's using this deal to box out Bibi because he's running for re-election in October, and he's going to lose, and they're going to what? Pull him. He's going to be indicted for corruption and maybe a lot more other things. Israel right now, because he knows they can't help themselves, they lose control, as he was stating today at the G7. You just can't go after Hezbollah and Lebanon. You just got to level the place like you did in Gaza. That was a warning shot to Israel and letting them know, we watching you, we seeing you, we know what you're going to do. So that is something of a perspective. Marshall, your thoughts before we get into this?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it Monday night, and that the spotlight, that Netanyahu is isolating himself, and here we go. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the spotlight is on him now. Right. And who pulls the strings? Right.
So all the blather and the blowback is happening. MAGA hawk mutiny deepens Trump's isolation in Iran. This was today, early on today. President Trump's Iran deal has opened an explosive second front in MAGA civil war waged by hawkish allies who view the U.S. concessions as an existential betrayal of Israel. How interesting. You had America First people leave MAGA because of the pro-Israeli hawks, neocons in some way. And now all of a sudden, they, okay? Mark Levin, Shapiro, all these other fucking neocon hawks are like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Military industrial complex people, all these people that have this affinity, this militarist, this rattling monsters that just want to what? Keep bombing and killing. They're just what? They're just seething at the mouth. They're just foaming. They want the blood. So across 2 terms and 11 years in the political spotlight, no issue has divided Trump's base more. No, it's not just Trump's base. His base has completely been splintered off by the America First crowd who hates Israel, okay? And the pro-Israeli crowd first, or Israel First crowd, are now separated in some ways. And everybody else that is left defending themselves, like me, okay, because I can care less about them or the Jews, fuck them and die. You know what? I've always been steady. I'm good to go. I have no problems about how this is. But you're seeing the leeches just simply fade away, fall off the leaves, okay? They just are disappearing. All these people, the tentacles on them are being cut, and everything is being what? substantiated out. And we'll get to Megyn Kelly. We'll get to all these other videos I have. So when U.S. strikes begin, leading isolationists from Tucker Carlson, MTG, for suggesting Trump has abandoned America First principles on behalf of Israel. 3 months later, with an interim deal in hand and peace potentially on the horizon, Republican hawks who cheered Trump in the battle are now leading their own furious rebellion. Good, get the fuck out of here. Because they don't see the bigger picture. President Trump looks at the market. I'm going to cover that completely because this is how President Trump sees everything. He doesn't see these things that the neocons or the anti-interventionists and all these other people who want to take a side and stake their claim in the ground doesn't mean anything. Pro-Israel conservatives are demanding to see the text of Trump's memorandum MOU with Iran. It's already out. The White House has given conflicting signals on timing. Senior officials said the text will be released Tuesday or Wednesday. It's already out, 14 points. And it looks favorable to Iran and the Middle East and the people that are going to help, let's just say, consolidate and make a greater Middle East while utilizing some type of having a hand in the process of rebuilding, rebranding, and making Iran great again from their standpoint in the sense of like getting their foot in the door. So they have a seat at the table to know what's going on. So they don't allow the wackadoos that they previously had that have all been decapitated and done go off the rails again. So the more and more inroads you make into this country, the more and more, let's just say, opportunity that the Middle East has for what? Some type of agreement and settlement that they can all coalesce and work together. And I think that's the key. President Trump pointed out that today. So is Israel, which has seen as the official MO, despite being party of the ceasefire. Trump inflamed the backlash on Tuesday by praising Iran's negotiators and a bilateral meeting with Qatar's emir and a key mediator, distrusted by many pro-Israeli Republicans. We're dealing with people that I think are very rational people, Trump said, adding that the Iranian officials were nice to deal with, not radicalized, and looking to help their country. Interesting. For hawks who view the Iran agreement or government as a terrorist regime incapable of reform, the president's language deepened their fear that the deal rewards Tehran for surviving the war. It does and it doesn't, because President Trump is also gauging how this looks on the market. He's looking about the benefit from the Iranian people with Israel. Basically wants to just basically bomb into Kingdom Come and kill as many people as possible. They don't care. Their bloodshed will not stop. Their bloodlust, their bloodthirst will not stop. These people are vampires, and they will suck the living essence and blood out of this country. All right? And someone like Trump has to make a deal, working and partnering with what? The Middle East allies that he has, let's just say, co-opted in a lot of ways. I mean, he walked in the G7 like a boss. He's like, I'm the boss. Look at me. So the money, the MOU would allow Iran to immediately begin selling oil while opening the door, sanctions relief, frozen funds, and a $300 billion reconstruction fund that is going to be paid out by who? The Middle East. Officials stress the financial relief will be tied to the compliance, but the hawks are apoplectic. No, this has nothing to do with us. Leveraged months of overwhelming military force, crippled Iran's nuclear infrastructure and conventional military defenses by entering a 60-day negotiation, the window and lifting the naval blockade. Now, hawks argue Trump is trading away unprecedented leverage. You're saying, look, finish him off now. That's what he's saying. Some even claim the regime was on the brink of collapse. So President Trump is hearing from his partners in the Middle East and saying, if we bury them completely, it's going to be harder to fix the problem. And remember, they get 20, 30, 40, 50% of this oil is globally traversed around the planet to many European countries, many countries in China and the Asia regions. So to do this would really cause harm unless we were going to take over Carg Island, which we might have. No one knows that for sure. But the critics reject the premise that Iran can be coaxed into moderation, a concern echoed inside Trump's own government. Yeah, I get it. Ratcliffe warned Trump, no, it's not going to work. And what they're saying, the backlash has been particularly scathing from allies. Trump spent months amplifying his validators of Iran campaign. Mark Thiessen, he's a neocon. I mean, he's a George Bush acolyte. The prospect of $300 billion for Iran is a disaster. It's like offering Germany a Marshall Plan while Nazis were still in power. Well, you know what? Let me just say this. I like how they use this vernacular. And they like always bring the Nazis involved in stuff, but they don't like being called Nazis themselves. They always like to misappropriate what Nazis are in the power of this in this matter. I mean, look, what I think a lot of people are let's just say, understanding about what's taking place is that President Trump is giving them an opportunity to showcase their performance-driven, their value that will be placed upon achieving a better society for their people. And in tow, Iran wants to be a part of a greater Middle East. Do they? Well, we shall see. We shall see. So many of the critics are careful not to attack Trump himself. Lindsey Graham calling the architect of the deal Vice President Vance. So now they're all throwing shade on Vance. That's why Vance was on this tutorial in the last 48 hours, going to every show possible, talking about Megyn Kelly. He was everywhere. He was everywhere, and he was great. He was great. He wasn't selling it. He was giving you a very objective viewpoint that a lot of people who are just, they're foaming at the seething. They're just vacillating blood. They cannot control themselves. And every moment, whether on The View, whether here, whether there, J.D. Vance basically squashed their aspirations. All right, I'm done with the Axios article. Your thoughts, Marshall, as we move on.
Yeah, that was nothing but I don't want to say a hit job. It was nothing but a sales pitch to all these people these people that are trying to spout this civil war in MAGA. We've talked about this weeks ago before. They're trying to make it sound like there is, or make people believe that there is, when really it's the Levins of the world that are upset. It's that crowd. It's the influencers of the world that are getting paid. They're upset. But MAGA, the voters are fine.
Yeah, I'm not implying that at all, because what's going on Megyn Kelly, I think, resonated a lot. And actually, there was a lot of stuff that came out of it, which I'll cover. Darlo, thank you for the can. Good evening, gentlemen and chatters. Great to see you all. Thea, what's up? How you doing? Prayers for Thea. She's going through some stuff. Prayers out there. Thank you for the 1,300 gold pills. Miss everyone. Can't stay, but wish I could. God is great. Yep. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon. Wood USA, thank you for the 219 gold pills. Who else is here tonight? I see Alita, Nawdog, True Terran. What's up, Nathan? Hello, all. What's going on, James, over here on YouTube? Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, concerns. You can support the platform. You could do what you can. I don't know what you're saying, Alphabet Omega Pill. Nice shirt. I don't understand.
Sending out comms, I think, Brett.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I missed it. I don't.
Maybe had a drink or something. Huh?
Who did? He did?
I don't know. Alphabet would tell us what's up.
Exactly. Okay. All right, moving on. It just caught me like, what? Okay, nice shirt. All right, here we are. Ex-MAGA. This comes from Randy Goat. I don't know who this fucking guy is, but he got like 32,000 views on it. Ex-MAGA, will Israel's newfound hate for Trump make you like Trump again? I thought that was an interesting interesting thought, because you think about it, how many people have just basically bailed out, dipped out on Trump, okay? And that pro-Israeli crowd right now is now doing the same thing. Levin, Shapiro, all these other people, the neocons, they're showing their ass. They are showing their ass. I'm going to show you a couple of people commenting on how much they're showing their ass. And here we are from Nick Sorter putting this out. This actually proves my point. They are showing who they are. They don't give a fuck about America. This is all about Israel. This deal, they couldn't care less. As Mark Levin on Fox News is huffing and puffing, I'll blow your house down, calling people little piggies and ingrates and stuff. Fuck you, you bagel. No one gives a shit about you and your fucking little state that was created in 47, okay? That's going to disappear very soon. It's going to be wiped off the map because people are tired of the state of Israel and people that are what? Continuing to promote this garbage nonsense, all right? You can't stop. You don't have self-control. I know you don't have self-control. You don't have self-control in many different areas, and we're about to see, because that 60-day window, ladies and gentlemen, is enough time to watch everything go batshit crazy from one end to another. So it is. Nothing does more damage than Israel's PR than posts from people like this. Mark Levin. Name one country, any country, that you will go along with the MAOU or deal preventing or conditioning its ability to defend itself against massive terrorist force on its border, firing missiles and drones onto its towns and sites. We need to decouple from Israel today. No more sending them money. No more sending them armaments or missiles or what have you. Defend your own fucking country, all right? And don't criticize President Trump. We're done. It's over. And you're seeing it right now, and they know it. Here it is, Nick Sorda, 100% right. Mark Levin is really showing his ass on this one. His visceral reaction to a Trump deal made on behalf of America, and mind you, made on behalf of America, that hasn't even been seen yet, is still very telling. He's basically saying, he's showing you who you are. His loyalties, just like Laura Loomer, scum, Jew scum, Mossad scum, they're all saying it. The last 3 months, Laura Loomer's put out, false flag incoming. Yeah, because they're waiting for the opportune time where the Samson option is going to be in place, because the Samson option basically directs them to what? Hey, look, if our allies are walking away from us and working with our enemies, then we got to take them both out. That's basically how you can look at the Samson option, Marshall. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and this
fucking country we're dealing with them, and it's over. But they're going to be exposed because of this deal.
Yeah, and I think what you said earlier in the beginning, is this a trap? Is this a trick? Is it some kind of a gambit? Well, yeah, I think we're opening the door for Netanyahu to just walk through it.
Right.
And that's what he's going to do, I think.
Well, this is the end of Netanyahu. Bibi is done because whatever facilitates, whatever's being orchestrated out there, what is ever being demonstrated or planned or plotted, okay, the idea that what we'll discuss later about what happened in UFC in this unorganized plot, which I think the ruminations and machinations of this on Signal got a lot more hullabaloo than it really was made to believe. And I think in some way, are we going to see this type of emphasis with the FBI, knowing full well they're going to have to be on alert when we're going to have some type of mitigating circumstances where a false flag attack is going to be directed at the American citizenry, and they're going to use this opportunity to blame Muslims. I mean, everything that came out with the Muslim rape group in England and stuff is a ripe time to put this out there. Third worlders in some way, they are setting up an opportunity to what? Set up shop for an event to happen. And listen, I am worried. You know why? Because it's going to be allowed to happen to a base scenario for us to understand where it came from. I think that's the ultimate goal. It will be allowed to proliferate, but it won't be expansive. There'll be a controlled operation in that, and we'll find out the benefactors of this. We'll find out who's involved, who's in charge in some way. But I'm not getting it twisted. I don't trust anything right now. I think this deal is actually setting it up lock, stock, and barrel, because it's basically creating a narrative. It's fomenting a narrative for other people to conditionally want to push back. And the only way they can do it is to threaten congressmen, use AIPAC, logistical money, exposure to Epstein, whatever you want to do, whatever you have to do in order to undercut the administration, the president, to make sure you get your point across. But we're all, let's just say, alert to it. That this is going to be the awakening, okay, that we're going to see. So get ready for it, be careful. Keep your head on a swivel, because what is going to be unfolded from this is going to get ugly. Here is J.D. Vance on Megyn Kelly. And man, did he make the rounds yesterday and today. And, if you don't have a newfound perspective of this man, I don't know, because Marco Rubio looked not pleased. He wanted more. Listen, there are rhino cucks in this administration. As Marco Rubio has been great, he pounds the table for what? A war hawk deal. Okay? He's not being removed. Neither is Hegseth. Neither is Ratcliffe. These are all suppositions. But even if you disagree with this particular action, it's completely ridiculous to pick up your marbles and go home. I love this. This is J.D. Vance, man, he is smooth. He is good. I like where he's going with this. And yes, he is not a neocon. He is not a war hawk. He is not. This is one thing that he's selling. The administration is selling somebody who's the complete opposite of what Trump is doing right now, or the complete opposite of what Marco Rubio might be, or other people that have that type of attitude. How he was on The View was fantastic. He handled those, and I call them children, woke children, feminist, femibots, whatever. He handled them good. But this really shows the excise of thinking. All him.
To the GOP base as a result of all this.
Okay.
Because it's divided. I know you've experienced it yourself. I've experienced it too. It's been sort of a sad, tumultuous, stressful time.
Listen to this.
Sure.
It's much more fun, I think, for most of us who lean right or right-leaning independents to be fighting with the left. But it's been kind of civil war-y over on the conservative teams since this whole thing got launched.
Yep.
And the non-interventionalist right feels very betrayed by it. Whether you agree with that they've been betrayed or not, Mr. Vice President, what do you say to those people?
Well, what I'd say to them is one, I think you can walk through all the ways in which this has led to a good place for the United States of America. And I'd ask them not to sort of view this purely through the filter. A lot of these folks are frustrated with the role that Israel has and all that. We'll talk about that. But don't look at it from the lens of, what is it that people think about it? What do you think about it? Fundamentally,
against it. I've talked
fair,
to a lot of
but ask yourself, I think you can make the best argument that the nuclear program is destroyed. The Iranian conventional military is destroyed. We had, yes, a temporary rise in energy prices that's already coming down substantially. And we didn't get, as I said repeatedly, we were never going to get the quagmire that a lot of people were warning about, because Donald Trump is just not George W. Bush. So I would say the first argument I'd make is look at where we are right now. And I think you can make the best argument that where we are right now is a good place for the United States of America. And again, if we transform the Middle East,
what else
this was fundamentally worth it. Okay. The second argument I'd make, this is maybe, is this. Even if you disagree with this particular action, it's completely ridiculous to pick up your marbles and go home. That's not how politics works. And I've been very much on the inside of a lot of these debates and conversations. Some people have criticized our immigration policy. Some people have criticized tax policy, or some people have criticized foreign policy. The way that politics works is that you have to stay engaged in the process. You absolutely have to make your voice heard. But right now, we have a very good deal for the American people. And importantly, we have a constituency right now that is saying that we're going to send boots on the ground. They want Donald Trump to send hundreds of thousands of ground troops.
And who are they?
Iran.
And who are they?
Mark Levin.
But we need people to be pushing back from inside the tent.
Okay,
the frustration,
but wait, some of us push back,
point.
And then we're told, and I quote, "Those who speak ill of Mark Levin are not MAGA."
Bingo.
Well, the president, as he does, is pushing back at a criticism of yours that he thought was unfair.
Not just me. I mean, a lot of the non-interventionalists.
But I talked to him last night and I said, Mr. President, I'm going to go on Megyn Kelly's show and I'm going to defend the administration's policies. He said, absolutely. I love that. Because again,
good. Tell him he should do it next.
He engages and he's going to criticize you when he agrees or disagrees with you.
I don't mind his
criticism. He's going to say nice things about you when he agrees with you. But that's what I actually love about the president is he's not like viewing these debates from the outside. He's participating in them himself. And again, Megyn, the frustration that I've had with, the non-interventionist side has been that the attitude seems to be, we disagree with the president on this policy. Look, we can have that debate, but fine. Okay. You disagree with the president on this particular policy. That doesn't mean you can give up on the entire enterprise.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Exactly.
The reason why neocons are so much more effective in politics than the people on the other side in our coalition is because they play the game.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Because they play the game. Now, that's an 8-minute clip. I did about 3.5 minutes of that. That's enough. I got so much more. Your thoughts. That was a fantastic overview. I think he is so on the point. He is so perfectly poised to handle all these people that have so many different viewpoints that are coming in, checking out. You know, they think that, you know, hey, look, it's Hotel California. You know, I mean, look, the attitude that a lot of people have saying, you have all the non-interventionists, you have all the America First, they dipped out. Now you have all the Jew people, the pro-Israeli first people, they're gone too. Good. That leaves the base to us, okay, who hate you and hate them, okay? All right, I don't care if you want to call it the woke right or whatever in some way. He's giving you a very not a myopic way of perceiving it. He's giving you an understanding that, look, if you want to just go ahead and pick up your marbles and just dip out and not be here in the game, well, then you shouldn't have a say. You shouldn't have anything to say. In fact, you don't want to vote, you don't want to do anything, then why are you in the game to begin with? All right, I think he's making a point completely. He's saying, look, the president, this administration, listens to many different sides about a lot of things. They're engaged, okay? But if you want to take it personally, because you can't handle some pushback about what's taking place and you don't understand the dynamics, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 100 D chess, who gives a fuck? But you're ready to throw in the towel, okay? When you were there to help support and bring him back into the administration, to bring him there, as he had said, it's almost a joke. It's almost embarrassing. So where are you when the shit really gets tense? Are you going to shit and get off the pot? Or are you going to just hold your fucking water and fucking piss your pants because you can't deal when shit gets really tight? See, that's the problem with these fence jumpers. That's the problem. And I think, excellent. J.D. Vance was fantastic. I've never said this ever because I was always aloof about how I felt, Marshall, about J.D. Vance. But this 24-hour, 48 window of just going to show showed me a new perspective about him. And did you see Marco Rubio today? He did not look good. He was angry. He was frustrated. Secretary of State was not happy with what President Trump was doing in some way regarding the new JCPOA or the new Iran deal, whatever they're fucking calling it. Your thoughts?
Well, it was a good thing that that they knew that this was going to happen with people like Levin, and they were going to get these people that have influence or whatever media that are going to blow up against Trump and all this, the Iran deal. So it was good that he got J.D. Vance to do the tour, because even today, and I couldn't remember his name, I had to look it up. Even today on Fox, this Trey Gowdy, this asshole.
Yeah, farmer.
He was
South
up
Carolina,
there just going on and on.
Yeah.
He was going on and on about, we need to do regime change. So in other words, he's saying we need to put boots on the ground, full out war in Iran, and send our people over there.
They don't care if we're dead. They like to use that as just send him to Carg Island, send him in there, just send on, because these are the Bush acolytes. Dude, that's Trey Gowdy. South Carolina is full of rhino cucks. That's Bush acolyte. That's Bush Light 2, I call, next to Texas. I mean, it's embarrassing. Who gives a fuck about these people? You're on Fox News. No one really listens to you anyway. But if you're calling for boots on the ground and for people to be slaughtered in the name of Israel, that game is over. It's over. It's over. Trump knows it. He knows it. His followers know it. He just can't say it. But he's walking us into a window of a 60-day armistice, where we're going to call a timeout, a truce in some way. That's really what it is. And we're going to see what envelops in that time, whether with Iran, its proxies, and or Israel. Because the rest of the Middle East are going to be watching and on guard. And the United States is going to sit back saying, as a referee, don't do anything stupid. Play the hand is being dealt. Question is, who will blink first? Who will blink first? We will find out, and that's what it's made to see. Let's listen to this. Again, Vance on Megyn Kelly. We need people pushing back inside the 10. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Of course we do. The more voices pushing back, the more things. But if you're throwing in the towel, you're saying it's over and done, and all these other things, stop. Stop with all this stuff. What's Rubio's take on AIPAC? Exactly. He did not look pleased today.
Have a very good deal for the American people. And importantly, we have a constituency right now that is saying that we're going to send boots on the ground. They want Donald Trump to send hundreds of thousands of ground troops into Iran. The best thing,
Those
we
are
need
Republicans.
people, but we need people to be pushing back from inside the tent.
Okay,
the frustration,
but wait, some of us
I want to
push
make an important
back,
point.
and then we're told, and I quote, those who speak ill of Mark Levin are not MAGA.
Well, the president, as he does, is pushing back at a criticism of yours that he thought was unfair.
I mean, not just me. I mean, a lot of the non-interventionalists.
But I talked to him last night, and I said, Mr. President, I'm going to go on Megyn Kelly's show, and I'm going to defend the administration's policies. He said, absolutely. I love that. Because, again,
good. Tell him he should do it next.
He engages, and he's going to criticize you when he agrees or disagrees with you.
I don't mind his
He's going to say
fine.
nice things about you when he agrees with you. But that's what I actually love about the president is he's not like viewing these debates from the outside. He's participating in them himself. And again, Megyn, the frustration that I've had with, the non-interventionist side has been that the attitude seems to be, we disagree with the president on this policy. Look, we can have that debate, but fine. Okay. You disagree with the president on this particular policy. That doesn't mean you can give up on the entire enterprise.
Yeah,
exactly.
No,
and the reason,
Megyn,
the reason why neocons are.
That's the problem. We cannot continue to exercise that type of, let's just say, attitude that we're allowed and afforded that, we're going to jump in, throw our bombs in there and then walk out because we disagree. We don't want to get proactive in the content. And then we become recoiled and then we drop back and say, we've lost. See, all those people that have pulled away from President Trump have lost. They have lost in some way. All right. They have no longer any viable potentiality to possess an attitude or a philosophy or a theoretical thought regarding all this stuff because they dipped out. We're still left holding the bag. We didn't leave. They did. And you Mark Levin and all these other people it's like Christopher Lloyd. I don't know, Marty. I don't know what's going on. They're losing their shit. I give Megyn Kelly credit in this way. I know that she doesn't like Mark Levin. I know there's a huge battle with that, Ben Shapiro and all this other stuff. But you know what? She was not always Trump. She was highly critical. She was Trump when it was convenient and necessary. Just like Tucker Carlson. Just like many other people. But it doesn't necessarily mean in some way you just give up and whatever. The fact that she had him on and he was able to have that type of courtesy to speak with her and actually say to her, you know what? You're the one who dipped out, though, because of the pro-Israel people. This is the point now. You could see how the MAGA base is showing who the people are. The non-interventionists versus the Israeli crowd. And all these people have simultaneously tried to undercut this administration, President Trump, and MAGA in general. And why being there, Marshall, was a great thing, an illustration for us to see, because he's in the den, he's in the lion's den. He is seeing and showing you. This is what happens when you dip out. You chose to do this. You chose to give up and not stand and fight. And he called her out in that way, and I think it was glorious. He did, because if you didn't notice it, that was the whole point. And what are you doing now? Where are you now? Who are you going to vote for now? It was perfect for J.D. Vance to be there and be everywhere discussing this in a great manner.
Yeah, and it's, I looked it up. There's no wonder that Marco Rubio is not totally pleased because up till now, it looks like he's gotten almost $2 million from AIPAC.
There you go.
So that's a nice hit. Every election, 5,000 or more or something. So he's got a money flow. Look, he can be. People can change. They can be changed.
I'm not saying the monkey's off his back. What I'm saying is, in some way, he didn't look good. Maybe that's just the way he was. He usually smiles. He usually has a smirk in some way, but he was not smiling there at the G7. He was dead serious. I don't think he liked anything that came out of that. And you know what? Whatever. He's the Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor. Maybe he has to be a certain way. I give him that. Brando Bean, long time, man. What's up? Thank you for the can. Hello, everyone. Yes, Curious Cat, what's going on? Thank you for the cookie. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Drops a gold pill. What's going on? Tracer C4, how you doing? Yeah, I got your commentary from the last show and stuff. I think you misinterpreted what I was trying to say. Maybe we'll get back to it if you remind me. But let's listen to this. President Trump today at G7. This comes from Rapid Response. Interesting. Here, President Trump speaking. Technical discussions on the removal of all stockpiles, enriched materials will begin immediately, unlike Barack Hussein Obama. See, the point is and stuff, the idea that we gave them pallets of cash. Did we give them uranium? We don't know that. Did they use that money to buy uranium from a secondary or tertiary source, an intermediary from Russia or somebody else? It's possible. Do we have a way of testing that and finding out? Did it come from us? Did it come from Uranium One that was sent from Hillary Clinton's group of people to Russia and then sent back to Iran in this circle jerk of chaos in some way? It's plausible. And I will get to something more deeper later on. But here is President Trump speaking about this.
They'll work closely with us to turn over the so-called enriched material that's very deep in the bowels of the earth, very deep. Nobody can get it. So it's not important that we do it quickly, but we could do it fairly quickly. When we have a chance, we'll do it. But in the meantime,
I think we've done it already. I think we're going to do it. Either we've done it or the 60-day window, ladies and gentlemen, is presenting an opportunity to do it. One of this time frame. And maybe haven't controlled Carg Island. I just think that he's not going to tip his hand. There are so many things that we're going. They're not pulling the military out of that area. We're basically what? We're going to be charging people tolls and collecting what? Funds, because we're utilizing this Strait of Hormuz, and we're the protectorate. Get that shit right. We're the new fucking mafia. That's it. That's what's going. That's what is actually being articulated out here. I don't know if that was agreed upon in G7. I don't even know if that's going to be promulgated in some way, but it was hinted. Let's continue.
we have cameras on every inch of it. Nobody can do
cameras
it. And
everywhere.
if they do, we'll hit them with Patriots.
We got Ring cameras everywhere.
And they'll be gone. And they know that. Technical discussions on the removal of all stockpiles of enriched materials will begin immediately. We're going to start that immediately. And unlike Barack Hussein Obama, who sent Iran pallets of cash and any relief they receive under this deal, they'll have to get based on merit. And it won't be from us. We don't have to give them anything.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Tracer C4. Go back and look. That was the show the other day. I didn't get to explain part of the show regarding the UFC thing, so that's my bad. But you see how he's calling out people? You see, Marshall, how he's explaining this in so many ways and stuff. I just don't think people are really understanding. They're not really hearing what he's saying. And I think what he's saying is right now is that, look, whether it's now or later, that whole thing about uranium, that's coming back to us one way or another. I personally believe, my own supposition, my own belief, that we already have it. And I think that that's part of the delay of the inevitable inside the 60-day window to give pause for the memorandum to settle in, to nestle in suspiciously, conveniently, as I pointed out. But I think obviously right now, this is to what? Not provoke a response, but in some way to figure out if the response is received by the very people out there who don't like this deal, then we may see a response sooner rather than later. The question is, who is the first subject to present that response to us? And that is how he's talking. That is how he's explaining. Will that be done in some way? Thus, I said early on, is this a trap, Marshall? Is this a psyop? And again, for who and for whom?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, obviously we agree that pretty much that it's on Israel. Spotlight's on them. Brett,
can I ask you a question? As you can expound, just expound on that. Why do you think that is? Not me, you.
It's we've all talked about how Israel and Iran are basically they're kind of a proxy for each other in a way. They use each other. Mainly Israel uses Iran.
Very good.
The spotlight is going on over onto Israel. And it's going to go to them because they're both tied together through the British Kingdom.
Right.
And it's all tied in. I also think that this plutonium or whatever, this uranium, we don't even know if it even exists. This could all be completely...
It's a good point, because I'll ask you this, and I'll throw it right back at you. My point is as simply as that if we understand that Rotten Box Clinton and her cohorts sold uranium-1 to the Russians, to Rotterdam and all this other stuff, and that amount of uranium that was sold and was paid in this type of whatever, payback facilitation in some way, which is treasonous in some way to send, that was utilized to send to Iran for a future later date, this yellow cake. Remember yellow cake? Yellow cake, remember? That was presented during 9/11. That yellow cake comes back around securely to Iran. And then they went from a small enriched program at 20% to an enriched program of 65% or 68%. And so how did they increase it? Again, so I ask, where did it come from? How did they pay for it? Obviously, we gave them the pallets of cash through Obama. And so Obama helped facilitate it using Hillary Clinton, Rotten Box Clinton, and, all these other separate adjuncts to help create this scenario where there will be a future Iran with the crazy mullahs at the time that no longer exist, that are apocalyptic, that would want to fucking blow up the world or the Middle East or what have you. That was coming. I do believe that. So again, I ask you in some way, where are we now with that? And is that going to be traceable in the future?
A big part of me really has, and we've already talked about this a long time ago. This could all be just some show just to keep Israel's program going the way they like.
Right.
In other words, we've always heard, Brett, from Israel, Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks or 2 months. We've heard that for 10 fucking years at least.
Since 2002.
Yeah. So is it curtains for this whole show? I think that's what this is.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think we're redressing these grievances because Israel is now on the stage. Now they're on the stage. The spotlight is on them. They know they're going to be proactive about nixing this deal because they can't allow Iran to continue on, because this deal, as it will be purportedly going through, will be in some way in 60 days somehow signed, sealed, and delivered. The question will be, if this happens, and I believe there's no doubt in my mind, I will look at Kalishi and Polymarket. Does Israel do something stupid? Do they hit Iran? Do they hit Lebanon? Do they fucking false flag the United States? I mean, I'm not pulling anything past them, but I can tell you right now, something is going to happen, and get ready. Look at Marco Rubio's face. President Trump reveals every world leader at the G7 who came up to him is absolutely ecstatic with this Iran deal. Wow. That is very telling. Continue on with that.
Presidents and prime ministers.
Listen to this.
You saw Prime Minister Modi was here. We had a long talk. He's a great guy. They are thrilled that we made a deal. Every one of them. There's not one nation that came to us and said, please, sir, keep dropping bombs on them. Please keep dropping bombs. The stupid people say that. But I'm thrilled to report. And by the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $200 million worth of bombs. And, you know, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else. And they knew I was coming for a third night. We informed them we're coming for a third night. They didn't have their Navy. It sunk.
So they knew we were coming. Proportional theatrical response, expending weapons of destruction in some way to gain some type of narrative in some way. I think so. It's to jump the shark in this. Let's continue. I got videos and other stuff. I got to move on. I don't want to run out of time, and I don't want to go overtime. So I'm just going to blow through this with a couple of things. So here is, again, this, the Vice President of the United States, Vance, on roll making Tadloff or Tardloff, or whatever this fucking woman is, this Jew, another Jew bagel that is basically, that pushes this narrative in some way, invents, basically invites and invents all these things up in her head. They all call her. Why is she still there? Why is she still there? But listen to this. So Vance is on a roll attacking her, making her look stupid, not hard to accomplish, but you get the gist.
Listen, was meaningful, where they said that CIA Director Ratcliffe, Rubio, and Hegseth, based on American intelligence, were doubting the kind of results they thought we could get out of this deal.
There's no proof of that.
So
there's no, that came from the Washington Post.
I think you make
it's been debunked.
Unfortunately, that a lot of the
they were going to get fired.
Make when they talk about this,
like
which
the
is
Wall Street Journal?
They talk about the benefits to the Iranians without any of the things the Iranians would have to give up and have to change in order to get those benefits. So you mentioned a $300 billion fund. I got to be very clear about this. Not a single cent of American money under any circumstance, no matter what the Iranians do, goes to Iran. Not a single cent of American money.
Other money.
Well, here's what this says. This says, for example, let's say that the United Arab Emirates, who have been a great ally, let's say they want to invest in a power plant in Iran. What this deal provides is that if the Iranians have done everything we require them to do, then we will allow the United Arab Emirates to do that, because they can't do that right now without American approval. So we're fundamentally saying if the Iranians transform how they interact with the world, we will transform how the world economy interacts with Iran. But if they don't do any of that stuff, they don't get any of these benefits. So I think all the Democrats who are saying, well, the Iranians get all these things, they don't get anything unless there's been a complete transformation of how Iran interacts with the world. That would be a huge win for America. And to Jesse's point, if they don't do any of these things, we don't give them anything, they don't receive anything, their nuclear program is still destroyed, their military is still destroyed, their missile program and industrial base is still destroyed. We fundamentally have transformed the Middle East. Whether they comply or not, this is just icing on the cake, assuming they do all the right things.
Can I just take a look? And then obviously...
There you go. There you go. I mean, the narratives that are out there is that they can't comport to the idea that what he's saying. Again, it doesn't matter. And it always is a Jew. It's always the Jew class because they're defending Israel. They're also protecting Obama. I mean, do you notice how, Mark Levin and many other people mention the JOCP all the time because of Obama. Obama failed. That was a miserable deal. You were going on left and right attacking Obama for sending money this and stuff, but you don't want to use Trump in the same vein. Why is that? Because you want to make sure that in some way you make a contrasting argument saying, well, is his deal better than what you have right now? Well, this 14 points, yeah, it's better in the sense of what? That we have a way off on this and that the global strategic financial operation of the money that's flowing through that doesn't impact the world and we don't go into another fucking depression. Yeah. President Trump does not think in those contexts. Let's continue on. I got more. His MJ Truth, again, on Megyn Kelly. I'm flipping back and forth. I'll get you your point, Marshall, because I got a lot more on this and I just want to skim through some of these videos. So Vice President Vance, so many people are misreporting this. The United States is not giving Iran billions of dollars. As he said on Fox News, we're not doing that.
We're not going to allow a bunch of unfrozen assets to freeze to the Iranians, right? Now, I want to be clear about this too, because those are not American assets. There's been a lot of misreporting on this and people have said, oh, is the United States
saying that
Iran billions of dollars? No, it'll be very, very crystal clear. Even if the Iranians do everything contemplated by this deal, not a penny of American money flows to Iran.
Nope.
But let me give you an example of, one of these
and
things.
And they're saying, well, it's a backdoor deal.
Let's say, for example, that the United Arab Emirates, they've been one of the best allies that we've had in the region. Let's say that they want to invest in a nuclear power plant in Iran. They really can't do that without us lifting some of the sanctions that exist in the global financial system to make that possible. Now, are the Emiratis going to invest in Iran, or is America going to let the Emiratis invest in Iran unless the Iranians change their behavior? No. So all these people say, well, you're giving Iran money. No. We're saying that if the Iranians change their behavior, we're going to let some of these other countries invest in rebuilding their country and creating some prosperity for their people. That's like a good thing, right? If the Iranians stop funding terrorism, if they're behaving and their relationship is transformed, not just with us, but with the whole region, like that's a thing to celebrate. Somebody said, I forget who, but somebody said, this is like doing the Marshall Plan when the Nazis are still in control. And that's wrong on a few different ways. Number one, the Marshall Plan was a lot of American tax money. This is not American tax money. Number two, we're saying you only get the benefits of the bargain if you change your behavior. If that happens, we're talking about a transformed Middle East. That's a great legacy for the president, but more importantly, it's a great win for the American people.
Will we have inspections of whatever they are or aren't doing when it comes to nuclear / enrichment?
This is interesting.
And is enrichment even on the table? Because I haven't been able to totally understand what President Trump is saying on that.
If they want the benefits of the bargain, enrichment is going to be on the table, and more importantly, verification and inspections is going to be on the table.
But that means we'd let them do it a little. Like, what else are we inspecting?
No, look, our plan is, well, what we would be inspecting is the full part of building a nuclear weapon. So I'm hardly a nuclear engineer, so forgive the scientists are going to have to forgive me for this summary. But building a nuclear weapon is the infrastructure to enrich uranium. It's the infrastructure to turn enriched uranium into nuclear fuel. It's the infrastructure to turn that nuclear fuel into a bomb that you can detonate. It's the delivery mechanism for that bomb.
The cascades and the centrifuges.
All of this stuff, right?
Can those stay, or are those coming out?
Our plan under this deal is, again, the Iranians are getting a lot of benefits so long as they dismantle that nuclear weapons program. And again,
I think that's the gist of it, Marshall. Your thoughts? I see you. Megyn Kelly always flip-flops, Alita. Yeah, I know. But she's asking good points. I think there's a lot of parameters that she's saying that a lot of people are saying, where is this deal fall into? Instead of being Mark Levin and like pulling his hair out and saying, fuck America, burn it all down, because that's what he's saying. Megyn Kelly, who's America first, or, not necessarily a Trump fan or what have you, is definitely not pro-Israel, is basically asking these questions. What are the parameters in there where Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, all these other people are just basically losing their shit and saying, fuck this deal, rip it up, and blow the fucking shit out of fucking Iran. They want to kill 90 million people. They do. They do. And there's a moment in time where the vice president makes an actual quip about that. And he goes, there are people that want to kill the 90 plus million people in Iran. And we're not going to allow that to happen. We're not going to allow that to happen. Can you imagine that? How the reverb would be in some way that we just murder 90 million people, innocent people, people in Iran who basically just want a better Iran, a better country, more freedoms. You just want to wipe them off the face of the earth. Your thoughts, Marshall? Disgraceful.
Yeah, I think a number of the key things that he has said there. He didn't just say it, he said it more than once in that Megyn Kelly interview. Mm-hmm. He said that we have fundamentally changed the Middle East, or transitioned whatever we have changed the Middle East fundamentally. Right. And so that to me is they've basically drawn Israel out.
Right.
They've written them off. And the main power of our allies are going to be the Arab, that part of the because these other guys, these Israelis, all they've done is keep us in wars and getting our people killed.
Right. Darla, give to the can. Which one endorsed JD after the show? He better be careful dealing with the witches. Oh, you mean on The View? Yes, it was Joey Behar said she made a comment or quip and saying he probably should run. He's probably the most gracious out of all of them that we can accept. I don't know what we are. And so that raised red flags. So anytime a lefty is saying, pointing out stuff, that raises red flags. Be careful about that in some way. One third, the gift of the can. What's up? Good to see you all. Let's continue on. So Trump reveals in some way as we move on, and I'll give me my illustration about my discussion. Trump reveals why he agreed to the Iran deal. Stock markets are more brilliant than anybody. Let's listen.
The past 2 days have provided a chance to discuss the details of this historic agreement with many of our closest friends and allies, including the G7 nations and many presidents and prime ministers. As you saw, Prime Minister Modi was here. We had a long talk. He's a great guy. They are thrilled that we made a deal, every one of them. There's not one nation that came to us and said, please, sir, keep dropping bombs on them. Please keep dropping bombs. The stupid people say that. But I'm thrilled to report, and by the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $200 million worth of bombs. And, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else. And they knew I was coming for a third night. We informed them we're coming for a third night. They didn't have their Navy, it's sunk. They didn't have their Air Force, it's gone, not one plane. They didn't have anti-aircraft equipment, so we got free reign. They didn't have their leaders, but they have a new group of leaders that I think is, actually, I think they're smarter. I think they're very smart. I think they're far less radicalized, and I think they're really good. They love their country. You talk about regime change. Nobody will say that, but I guess look, their one set of leaders is all gone. Their second set of leaders is all gone. Their third set of leaders a little bit gone, but for the most part,
you hear that?
Frankly, I think that's regime change. I think they're going to behave much differently. I think they see a different way of life that they were never exposed to. So the one thing I didn't want to see is economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship.
You hear that?
It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is
more
brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
That's a terrible statement. All right. The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what? We're not going to be able to settle. It would go down very big, Peter. Very, very big.
He's basically pointing out the fact is that everything that has to do with the war in Iran or the conflict in Iran is a reflection of the economic system in general. That the pinnacle of the Iran conflict is centralized around what they do, what they contribute to do, what they actually send around 34%. Many countries that receive their oil and LNG that fill up and then move the tankers through. That the actual Hormuz itself is such an amazing, let's just say, apparatus, and that they've been using this thing for decades to charge tolls, to weaponize it, to blackmail and cajole and exhort some type of extortion racket, which no longer is going to be, let's just say, continuous. And that's what the United States has brought down to its knees. They've basically broken them. And what he's saying right now, in some way, how this shaped the Iran deal. Let me just give you a little intro of some of my suppositions here. In this 2026 year, the U.S. and Iran were in this emerging from a period of directive conflict and war that disrupted the Strait of Hormuz. That choke point had a 20% amount that was reshaping the global oil infrastructure around the world. That drove oil prices higher at times, stoking inflation fears, raising costs for businesses and consumers, and pressuring stock markets. Trump's team pursued. He publicly celebrated. He was doing it today. A preliminary agreement of the MOU, a framework that included reopening the strait, allowing Iran to resume sales immediately, broader financial incentives, and stand down on further strikes and a path to address nuclear issues, as he said today. Markets reacted sharply and immediately to the progress of signals. The stock surged, Dow hitting record highs, the S&P and NASDAQ gains on the announcement that a deal was close or imminent. This was purposely done and orchestrated for the markets directly. The oil prices tumbled and sometimes a multi-month lulls as the supply fears ease. They're down to now 75, which is a sweet spot in the oil and crude industry. It's going to drop a lot further. Trump explicitly connected the dots in public comments. For example, while discussing a deal at G7, he noted the great things that are happening in the Middle East. He actually said this. He said, very importantly, the oil is plummeting down and the stock market is shooting up like a rocket today. Interesting that he framed that as a progress at delivering both a geopolitical relief and a tangible economic market win, which is celebrated at home. So what you need to understand is that the positive market reactions to his statements validated pushing diplomacy and quick stabilization over indefinite escalation or maximalist demands that could prolong oil spikes and market pain. He realized in some way, the longer we continue on what Israel wants as they drive through Lebanon, going to turn it into Gaza, we can no longer be a part of this, even though that he's telling that rabid dog, Bibi, and Israel, you need to shut this down. You need to slow it down. You need to speed it up and end this. Because you know what? As we're viewing it, as we're seeing it, it's no longer going to be viable. So the deal structure prioritized what? A rapid economic descaling, a de-risking, an immediate oil export resumption, and a Hormuz reopening to deliver fast relief to what? To energy prices all through the world. The investor settlement, rather than a slower grind that keeps the market nervous, avoiding further strikes and prolonged blockades. This affects the G7. I guarantee you right now, they are all supporting President Trump doing this. So here we are right now in the end. For President Trump, a good Iran deal isn't just about nuclear material, about nukes. It's not about shipping lanes or regional power. It's also about removing a major headwind to the stock market and a broader economy. That's what they represented. He wanted to claim credit for in the future, but the visible market rallies on deal news reinforced that the priority and gave him a powerful talking point to come back at home and through the European allies at the G7 to say, hey, look, I fixed the problem. We're going to lower the prices. We're going to fix your problem that you have at home, which is going to benefit you in your voting blocks, in your own countries in some way. And we're doing this at the level that I say. And we're no longer going to be what? Dealing with Israel to control the narrative, to help us to what? Destroy the rest of the European nations, economy, energy, the global infrastructure. That's what Israel is doing because they're seething, they're frothing at the mouth, the blood that's dripping, the bloodlust, like Vad the Impala. They cannot control themselves and they're going to be dealt with. They're going to be dealt with very soon. And thus, this deal was set up to prove this very point, Marshall. That is my subject for tonight.
All they've done.
What's your thoughts?
All they've done since they've been there is try to resettle and expand. Resettle, expand, resettle, expand, resettle, expand, and kill anybody in their way.
Mm-hmm.
Take their homes and all that shit. I mean, that's really, we all know this, Brett. That's all they have done over there for all these years. And they've used us as their little, their free toy soldier. Yeah, they're free toy soldier.
I like the toy soldier thing.
Yeah, and they wind us up when they need money.
G.I. Joe fucking what?
Yeah, wind up marching in and all our people fall to the ground and the blood flows.
It's over. So all the bagels, all the everything bagels, you're going bye-bye. You're going bye-bye. You can cry all you want. You're going to make a move. We're all going to see it. And you know what? You're going to be done. You should be looking over your shoulder. Because if there's a fucking false flag that happens, man, you haven't seen. the fuckery that is going to fucking push back.
Yeah.
So while at the G7 in front of the media, all of the world, this comes from clandestine. This was pretty big. I thought this was interesting. He made a Substack about this. He said, Trump said that Obama paved the way for Iran to obtain nuclear weapons and that their plan was to destroy Israel in the Middle East. Okay. Trump just revealed a big secret to the world. Class is in session. The world is being briefed. It's not just the American people Trump is talking to. He's talking to the entire world. The global public are being prepared for the world-altering news. The world must be informed of the great criminality that took place before that can be justice. The landing must be soft and gradual. Interesting. I like that. Trump is preparing the world for what must be done. Obama and all those involved in supplying Iran with nuclear weapons, whether it's material or not, must be held accountable. Trump just prevented World War III and saved the world. It was the Obama administration and their global crime syndicate that were behind the plot while the world watches. Interesting. And you know what? I think that whatever was discussed at the G7 is basically a hat tip to what clandestine is saying in some way, is that he has neutered this in so many different ways that if we allowed this to continue on, that the infrastructure and how the bifurcation and the cutoff, all that stuff would have really destroyed and transferred the world. President Trump had to do this. It was necessary. But the blowback from an American political perspective will be the fallout of what Obama and his acolytes did. I mean, we don't know if Rotten Box Clinton was talking, but we shall soon see. Let's listen to this. I got a little bit more as we go on with the videos. Let's just continue on. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, concerns. If you want to support the platform, you can do so with Rumble Rants. You can do so all over the place. You can help us out on YouTube. We're not monetized there. You could buy me at coffee.com/wearerise. You can help out Marshall, ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Let's continue on. So much stuff that is all over the place. So breaking, Peter Doocy presses President Trump on what's the difference between giving Iran US dollars and unfreezing. This was a very good illustration of understanding the difference for people to be explained to like their children. I like this discussion.
Though, what the difference is between giving Iran US dollars
very
and
good.
Unfreezing
very good
US dollars for
the unfreezing is the easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again.
So this is the point. We've frozen a lot of their money. But the money that is being talked about by J.D. Vance and stuff is about the allocation of funds to rebuild Iran outside a military, because they've lost, what, $1 trillion worth of viability in their country. So if there's no investments coming in, these people are going to starve and die. And we don't know how much control are in there. But getting your foot in the door, if you're the Middle East sovereign nations, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Saudi Arabia, you name it, just fucking put them all in. Everybody involved, having a foot inside the door to make sure Iran is on the path to a betterment for a greater Middle East where we don't have to be involved. They have to be involved. And the oversight is there to make sure they don't step out of line, is what he's talking about. Let's continue.
You took their money, because I thought about it. You know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
I think that's an important point. You don't want to, it's freezing their accounts, but it is their money. If we were to take that money, it's not going to look really good. It's not. Now, we could penalize them and short them in some way based upon, as Scott Bessent said, in some way, all the actions they do, all the attacks they do in some way. But if they want their full amount of money, the meritocracy rule, the idea that I was discussing earlier, as President Trump is saying, is that, if you want an organic breakthrough, they have to have a performance-driven attitude about where they see this new 14-point plan. And really, that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. Let's continue on. President Trump, again, he's all over. I got so much of this stuff. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Listen to this. Listen to what he says here.
You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this reconstruction fund.
Only if they're doing things right.
Only.
Peter, only if we're not doing anything.
Exactly.
We're not putting up money. Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also.
Look at Rubio's face.
Talk about billions of dollars.
Look at his face.
They've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way.
Rubio does not look happy. He looks uncomfortable. He doesn't want to be there. Maybe he's tired.
He looks like he's tired, man. He looks burnt out.
It could be burnout.
He could be pissed off because he had interactions with some of these other assholes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Look, I mean, I like Rubio.
I'm going to give him a break and say, who the hell knows?
Yeah, I'm not throwing him under the bus. I mean, he's been really great.
He's
been really great. I mean, he has, but he just doesn't look happy standing up
in his own bed.
He probably just doesn't want to be at these types. He doesn't strike me as someone who likes to do these functions.
Yeah, I mean, he's standing there for an hour and a half.
Well, he's the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of State, and he's got 5 other jobs. So I'm sure he's fucking tired. So I give him that, and I'm not going to wreck him in some way. I mean, his job is probably a lot harder than the vice president. I mean, let's face it. It probably is. So the MJ True puts this out. Listen closely to what President Trump says about Israel and BB. BB.
And in some cases, women,
listen to this.
Men, walking around without legs, without arms, with a face that's been blown to smithereens. It's Soleimani, 95%, 96.2, they say, or something. 95%. That was Soleimani did it. Happened to come from Iran, and I blew him up. You remember that? I blew him up in the Valley of Death. He got off his plane, and we followed him. And in all fairness, because they've been wonderful to me, Israel, but they didn't want to do that attack. They were all set the night before the attack. They informed me.
They backed out.
They didn't want to do it, so I had to make a decision. I made the decision to do it. But they
backed out. They pussed out. And they took what? Recognition of it. Man, you can't hate the fucking Jews more than anything else in the world. What a bunch of slimy, disgusting people Israelis are. They're just, listen to this. Why is he telling this story? Because let's face it, we all know who they are and what they are. They are scum.
He's calling them out.
Joint
Yes,
venture,
he is.
as we say in the real estate business. That was a joint venture between Israel and us. We studied it for a month. We knew what plane he was going to be on almost a month before. Wow. He only traveled on commercial airliners, big ones with lots of people, because he knew we wouldn't shoot him down. He's very smart. But we knew he was going to be on that plane.
They knew.
Him, and then Israel informed me that they won't do it. And I had to make...
This is a bloodthirsty vampire... But they didn't want to be a part of it. Why didn't they want to be a part of it? Why not take some credit? Why not say, yeah, we want to be a part of this, taking down this guy, this illustrious, criminal, terrorist in some way? Why not want to be a part of it? Let's continue.
Good decision. I had some very good generals, and not the ones you see on television, very good. And I want to thank also Pete Hegseth and General Raisin Kane, who's phenomenal. Okay, these guys are phenomenal. They can't be better. But I had some good generals, and I said to him, well, if Israel's not going to do it, we're all prepared. Do we do it? Do you like doing it or not? He said, sir, if You want to do it, we can do it. How well? We'll do it just as well or better. Do it ourselves. We don't need anybody. So we took out Soleimani. One of the biggest events to happen in the Middle East, maybe ever, but they say 50 years, they say 100 years. I was with the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He said it's maybe the biggest event that has ever taken place in Islam. Nobody could believe it. So that's when it started. It didn't start like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago.
It didn't start 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. I wonder why. Listen to this.
Maybe 9 or whatever. And all the tough guys don't realize that this wasn't a 3-month deal. This was years in the making.
Years.
You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani.
Because he was the one who set this up. He was the one that, we're going to go in. But for the last minute, Marshall, these bagels, these everything bagels that are beating their chests, fucking calling us all out, thinking they're the fucking king fucking dinglings on the block, whatever. When they use us as their proxy to fucking fight Middle Eastern wars, and that's what it is, just like Hezbollah and Hamas are being used by Iran and maybe even by Israel. But that is the fucking point. And that they turned around. Bibi turned around. Israel turned around and said, yeah, we were working in concert together. You backed out. You sellout scum, and used this to raise money off of when you had nothing to do with it. And he's calling them out. Again, more bifurcation, more separation. Israel is going bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Israel, the next Sodom and Gomorrah, is going to what? Flash in the sky. And I can't wait.
They backed out and didn't get involved in it because those were their boys. Those were Israel's boys. They didn't want their proxies getting. No. We're not going to go get them. That's my boy.
Exactly. That's my boy, Blue. That's my bagel boy, Blue.
Yeah.
Yes, Wood USA. Thank you for the 809 gold. The 809 gold pills. Need more support for the stream. Thank you so much. Let's continue on. So Ron Box rears her ugly head. Hillary Clinton, war is keeping Netanyahu in power. Let me tell you something right now. Some of the videos I've seen with her recently. Look, what did she say about black people? We got to keep them at heel. Was she so wrong with that?
Super predators.
The super predators. Was she so wrong about that? How about Hillary Clinton coming around calling out Israel and Netanyahu and the Jews? Is she so wrong with that? Why are we finding ourselves on this side? And why is she coming out right now talking in this matter? It seems odd. Is it so coincidental or is it on purpose? Ron Box Clinton says Netanyahu uses conflict rally to support and survive politically. No fucking shit, because his time is about to be up.
Not been uprooted yet. So I think, Netanyahu believes that war is his friend because his political standing is under attack from a lot of different directions.
Mind you, this is a war hawk that is a leftist, is an old school Democrat, but has leftist underpinnings because she's all over the, what do you call it? But listen to what she says here. Listen to what she says here.
And he wants to contain the opposition by creating conflict so that he tries to rally the country behind him. I think this Iran deal may be, the straw that finally breaks that. And
wow.
Creates an opening for his departure in the upcoming elections.
Oh,
and, a government that is certainly going to be very concerned about Israel's security, but might be somewhat more, adept at dealing with these problems in a way that enhances Israel's security.
So by removing him, he's going to be indicted. He's going to be gone. That they put someone else in his position, as she is stating, if you buy that they'll be more adept about dealing with this in a let's just put in a pragmatic way, and focusing on their security and not relying on the United States to promulgate their wars on behest of the coattails of the next president, because that's what's coming. That's exactly And you know what? No better or fewer words have been spoken. And I have to give it to Rotten Box Clinton. Telling the truth, speaking it from her standpoint and her position is quite illustrating. I think it's very germane because you have to see both sides about that because she's completely left of the Trump administration. I mean, the Clinton administration, they were supposedly middle of the road. They made bad deals all the time with Iran and Canada and NAFTA. But her calling out Bibi and centralizing that thought process really just basically shows you how they also think about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. It's been a long time coming. Yes, Hillary needs to shut the fuck up, but I don't know. I think this is really good.
I think this was her central casting moment.
Excellent. Is that
right?
right? So there you go.
Right on the right time.
Oh, is that Hillary Clinton?
No.
Is that Hillary?
No.
There you go.
They've been waiting for this whole time.
I was getting to that point, and he's basically like, that's what I was trying to set up. Was that Hillary Clinton, ladies and gentlemen? Do you believe that was Hillary Clinton?
This is the moment they've been waiting
for that question. Go ahead. Very good.
It's the moment they've been waiting for. That's her script.
Yes.
That's her role.
So she's reading a script perfectly.
She finally read her lines exactly the way they're supposed to be read.
Right.
And now Netanyahu's like, duh.
Yep. Perfectly done. That's not Hillary Clinton, and I couldn't agree with more. I could not agree with more. So what? Jonathan Greenblatt, the ADL CEO, chief of Everything Bagels, is bitching and warning that Jews are being forcibly blamed for dragging the United States into the war with Iran. Yes, they are. Actually, Bibi Netanyahu said that we pushed President Trump into this war. And President Trump said that. I know Marco Rubio excused it, but he not only confirmed it, it did happen. And so now they're all freaking out. He says, accusation of feeling anti-Semitism and pushing out of control. Let me tell you right now about the black fatigue, my friend. You haven't even seen anything yet with the Jew fatigue. And it's coming to a theater near you. You better get ready. Okay? That's why they passed these fucking laws thinking they're going to get away with it. No. It's over. It's over because once Israel responds in their false flag Samson option packet that they have designed, ready to go, and it's actually what? It's discovered, and it happens. None of this stuff is going to matter. It'll be hunting season. It will, and it's already hunting season now, but let's continue.
Seeing Jewish people, the Jewish state, blamed for the war in the Middle East. That is wrong. It is wrong to scapegoat. It is wrong to hold Jewish people accountable for something you don't like on the...
Then why is every fucking pro-Israel person, whether it's Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, all the prominent names freaking the holy out about this fucking deal? Why are they so upset? Because this deal doesn't, what? Impact them? Affect them? Or basically isolates them? It's not about you. It's about America. And see, that's the problem with these ADL Jews and the Michigan, the synagogue people and stuff. They think it's all about them. You're not a part of America. You're dual passport citizens. As you say all the time, white people, the Goyim, are not part of you. So why should we give a flying fuck of your bagel presence? And this deal is a fucking stake in your vampire heart. Fuck you and die. I hate these people. I'm going to talk about something. Maybe we should ship half the fucking blacks that are committing all these crimes to Israel and see how that works out. Let them all get along with each other. Let's continue.
They're the ones that brought them here anyway.
Exactly.
Planet. And we really need leaders on all sides, in politics, running for office, podcasters, to stop with the conspiracy.
Oh, stop with the conspiracy. You mean be blackmailed and be cajoled and be contrived to use the talking point and narrative that no one believes anymore? Let me ask you something right now. How many more people have Israel fatigue or Jew fatigue over black fatigue? Is it equal or is it more? Because we seem to go into more wars because of the Jew fatigue, but we're dealing with domestically because we have to deal with these people because of the low IQ and because of the culture that has been presented to us by people like this that are running our city-state fiefdoms. The problem we are facing right now is a two-front war. And things are about to be exercised in a way that no one has seen very soon. And in the 60-day window that is going to unfold, how it's going to be impactful is going to change the course of our trajectory. And it's going to not only decouple, it's going to cut off this this leech, all right, this parasite that we call Israel once and for all, because they are right now plotting and planning to do the next horrible thing and then blame it on this and then try to goad us into something much more, let's just say, dangerous. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Why was J.D. Vance going around to every enterprise of either the non-interventionists, the Fox News, all these different people that he was talking about? He went everywhere. I'm surprised he wasn't on Tucker. I'm surprised he wasn't on Sean Ryan. He just basically went everywhere speaking the truth about this. He is forewarning you in some way. Don't get what? Don't get squishy. Don't pick up your Marlboros and run. This deal that is being set up was done purposefully for us to see. And the actions and underpinnings that will fall out from this is what we need to take notice of, Marshall.
Yeah, he did that tour, and it was excellent that he did it. It was a counter move because they knew that the media,
that's what you're trying to say.
Counter narrative,
right?
And they knew that the media was going to go up on the opposite direction,
right?
Like Trey Gowdy and all them other Levin and all them.
Yeah, I mean that's Rhino Cuck City. So Fox News Rhino Cuck City. So here we go. I don't always agree with Anna Paulina Luna, but she makes a good point here. And there is something to say this. Foreign adversaries are trying to weaponize social media to turn Americans against a peace deal before it's even signed. I thought that was very interesting.
People.
Listen to this. I'll be right back.
I want to remind the American people being driven on social media by foreign adversaries that are trying to prevent the peace deal from actually taking place, and then also trying to fracture us as a country to pit us against one another. So what I will say is that everyone needs to take a step back because a lot of people are speculating without actually knowing the full terms and details of what the deal is. And it is not my place to get ahead of the president or the White House or the vice president on this. But what I will say is that the deal on the table will be beneficial for everyone involved. And I would encourage the government of Israel to take President Trump's advice and ensure that they are also adhering to what the peace deal is, because we want to make sure that A, no one else is getting hurt, and then also two, that we can ensure that Iran will never have access to a nuclear weapon, in which if they go along and agree with what they said they are going to do, and I'd like to remind the American people that they have gone on to their Iranian state media and have also announced that there is a deal and an agreement that has been met with the U.S. government and President Trump. They will then be able to begin this phase where they will unlock their seized assets. And so, again, the U.S. government is not using taxpayer dollars in order to bribe or buy the Iranian regime their efforts to denuclearize. But what we are doing is exercising our authority in protecting the American people and ensuring that this peace deal is protected.
Interesting how she says that. It's about protecting the American people. This says she doesn't mention Israel at all. And I thought that was I had some technical problems with my lighting and stuff. It was falling over, so I apologize. So good. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, I think her illustration here is saying, look, this is about the American electorate, the public. It's not about fucking Israel. I mean, I don't understand why we're sitting here like trying to placate this in some way. This whole deal is already set up, and it's for us. It's not for them. I got another thing I want to show you right now as I continue on. You're muted, by the way.
It seems like she's more lined up with the Stephen Millers of the world. I mean, she may be Jewish, but they're like not really for this whole Israel gambit deal or scam that they're doing.
They might be in some way out there, but they're not aligned in that manner.
Right.
They're not aligned in that matter because it's a different matter. Now watch this. So Vance says He responds to neocon critiques. Why do they believe Iranian propaganda about one thing, the peace deal, but they don't seem to believe Iranian propaganda rightfully, so about anything else? Listen to this. This was interesting.
Said if the deal terms are accurate as has been leaked, it's a complete disaster. He's calling this, by the way, the Vance deal.
I wonder why he doesn't call it the Trump deal.
I wonder too. There is Ben Domenech, who was on Special Report last night, called this a hillbilly Obama deal.
I wonder who that's a reference to.
Seems to be a shot at you, sir. Not bold foreign policy. There's a guy named Yanan Magal, who is an Israeli journalist who's very close with Netanyahu, who is basically his mouthpiece, who called you a lowlife, called Donald Trump a loser. The Israeli ambassador to the United States called this is so disappointing. Then there's Mark Levin, who's been rage tweeting about it every 5 minutes. He demands to see the memorandum. He demands that this be treated like a treaty, to where now you have to get congressional approval for the MOU. The Constitution does say you need approval to declare war, which Trump doesn't think he did and didn't seek. But now, and he defended him on that. But now that we're ending it, which you definitely don't need congressional approval for, he wants this treated like a treaty and is demanding.
Interesting.
You go before Congress, sir.
Well, to be clear, I don't think that congressional approval was required. I really firmly do believe that the president, was never a full-scale war in the conventional or legal sense of it. So we definitely made sure that we dotted our I's and crossed our T's here. So I wanted to defend the administration on that point. But it is kind of ironic that they're really, really worried about stopping this thing, but they were completely gung-ho about starting this thing. And look, I want to...
Interesting, he said that. They're completely gung-ho about starting this.
So, first of all, why do they believe Iranian propaganda only about one thing, the peace deal? They don't seem to believe Iranian propaganda, rightfully so, about anything else. So if you're in the position of endorsing Iranian propaganda only when it's related to this peace deal, then maybe you should check yourself a little bit and question your sources. The second thing that I'd say is, what is their alternative? If you look today, Brent crude is around $78 a barrel. West Texas crude is even lower, $75, $73 a barrel. I mean,
okay. I think he just basically bitch slap Mark Levin, because all these people that are talking out of their mouth have no way of understanding all this stuff. And he's basically saying you're buying into the propaganda. They're selling you a narrative that is not true, that they don't even have any insight to understand what's going on. But they juxtapose this in some way because they're Israeli first, and that they think in some way this is the greatest Jew president we ever had. Okay? He's not Jewish. Okay? His love and support of the Jewish people can be completely different and separated and bifurcated than his concern about the state of Israel. Because when it comes to affairs regarding the state, his first love is for America. So he's not going to take them up over them to position himself into this and make us into a quagmire. You know, the potentiality in some way we don't discuss, Marshall, is that, you know, if we have these engineering, let's just say technologies of very deep futuristic let's just say windows, like you know, the whole thing, like the idea that we can peer into the future in some way, all these
CERN.
Well, it's not about CERN or about all these other matters that that we can, you know, we looking glass, whatever it is, and stuff that people call into it. The fact that we could see it, that the idea that President Trump has this information available to him, knowing full well that he had to do something at this time regarding Iran, because there's going to be a future hiccup along this line that's going to happen and that has to be dealt with. And they chose at this moment to deal with it. So that timeline will change in some way, or that timeline will no longer exist anymore. And I think in some way we don't consider that, we don't base our technology and, let's just say, security and information and whatever on things that we have no idea about. What if President Trump, his administration, whatever he sees in some way, are glaring into the future? They're able to peer into the future with access of this type of clandestine, secretive technology to really look into what is going to happen and hiccup along the way and bifurcate it before it happens. And by doing so, he's formulating a plan. And that plan is based upon what is being presented to him as he sees it along the ride, along the bumps, as we see. I mean, all we're doing is basically what? Trying to follow along, play catch up, and realize in some way, has this already been done? But this whole thing with Iran and the deal that has been done, Marshall, seems to me this is not about Iran. I believe that deal has already been done. I think this is about what? Showing the American public once and for all who Israel is, who Bibi Netanyahu is, because they're going to lash out. And once they lash out, it'll be the end of him. It'll be the end of the Israeli AIPAC connection. I don't know what's going to fall out from that and stuff. Will we make sure that we put laws in place to denounce foreign entanglements with countries that are divesting in our congressmen and senators and using lobby PAC groups to subvert and support our Congress, and then send our daughters and sons and fathers and husbands to wars based upon that type of action? These are the things that are going to change, my friend.
Yeah, I think all this is a gradual unraveling in front of the people that have believed all these things that they've been told their whole lives. They're a lie. I mean, there's so many lies that have been told over the last 50 years. And you can't just tell somebody in 5 minutes, hey, this is what really happened.
No.
And they're going to come and they're going to punch your face and they're going to call you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be unraveled right in front of their eyes. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's already been done. This shit, I feel like we're just walking through something that we've already seen, but we haven't seen it. We haven't, if that makes sense.
Well, I think we've had aspects of understanding that it was going to happen one way or another. We just didn't know when. And now this is the perfect time. Killing two birds with one stone. In some way, is this a single action to achieve two basic results or two logistical results? Maybe. Darlell give to the can. Jews start wars and we run into their rescue. Sacrifice their children for them and they start war. They need to handle it on their own. Enough. Yes, Darlell, gift of the can. President Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. As long as his cabinet can keep up with his energy and take those slings and arrows with him, we will win. No, I you know what? I agree with you 100% because I'm not worried per se about the cabinet. I think that in some way, J.D. Vance proves himself, and maybe that was done to help proliferate his, let's just say, position, because after the midterms, he's going to be in full-on run-on mode for 2029. But we got a good window of understanding of not just his representation of what the Trump administration is doing and orchestrating and facilitating, but his explanation of how it's being done was really good. He actually was a very good orator of explaining this and digesting it and expounding upon this for people to digest and to come away of understanding, especially on The View, of saying, hey, look, these are the things that are being done. These are the things that are being said that are not true. And let me show you and let me present to you. He was very good about that. His presence, his demeanor, his calm, his demure, everything about him showed that he is presidential. And that's it. And that he excels in his position of vice presidency, and also in the sense of he excels in the fact is that his support for President Trump. It's just really good. And I like the fact that he went on The View and he said, yeah, I was never Trumper 15 or 16. And then he admitted that, when you're wrong about everything or about certain things, especially about President Trump, which he admitted to on The View, well, then I can atone for that. And thus now here, look at me right now. Years later, I'm the vice president of the United States because President Trump respects people that own their shit. They own their shit. They own it. And they realize that, hey, look, in some way, hey, look at me. I never thought I would be here, but he owned his shit. Now, I don't know what the trajectory of him will be in the future, but the last 48 hours of Vice President J.D. Vance selling everything, coalescing around everything, and broadcasting to people that don't necessarily want to be a part of the Trump administration, have splintered off between the pro. I mean, he didn't go on Mark Levin's show. He went on Hannity. He was there, not as a salesman pitching the Trump administration line. He was actually explaining what was going on. Let's continue. Here we go with Ron Box Clinton, ladies and gentlemen. Again, another butte. As Marshall said, this is not her, and the central casting is in full effect. Hillary Clinton says when she was Secretary of State, there was constant and relentless pressure by the Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, and then Defense Minister Ehud Barak, who is in what? The Epstein files, who is in what? The Q files, in some way, securing U.S. backing for military strike against Iran. Listen to this. This is not Ron Box Clinton.
Was secretary. It was a constant, theme by Netanyahu and his then government, the then defense minister, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister. Mm-hmm. It was relentless. It was a constant push. I remember.
What would he say to you?
What?
What would he say to you?
He would basically say, you need to support us in attacking Iran.
Listen to this.
And back then, this was, 2009 to the end of 2012, we had more capacity than Israel did on several fronts to do that. And so there was a constant argument that we would have. And I remember one day I was on the phone for hours with Ehud, with Bibi, with others, and they would say things like, our planes are on the tarmac. And I'd say, well, good luck. I mean, great. Why are you doing this?
Where else would planes be?
Listen to this.
On the tarmac, ready to take off. Yes. Although they'd be in the hangar, but they were on the tarmac. And you would say things.
You're saying you were being played.
Ooh.
All the time. I mean,
by an ally that receives an enormous amount of aid.
Well,
wow. So you have the left-wing media. You have Ron Box Clinton that's completely left of Trump, but she's a war hawk and saying that you're being completely played by Netanyahu and the Jews in Israel, and that we were forced to be what? Part of their gambit, and we didn't take part in this. Listen to that. Let me just play this back a little bit.
By an ally that
come on.
You were being played.
Listen.
All the time.
All the time.
I mean,
by an ally that receives an enormous amount of aid.
Well, of course. And look, Bibi's been obsessed.
So Bibi's obsessed with Iran. She's basically saying Israel and the Jews are a big problem in our country. So she's right about that. And we're seeing that truth come around. She said that blacks are these super predators. They need to be brought to heel. Wow. I mean, who would ever thought that Rotten Box Clinton philosophy and thought patterns would come to pass in any way as we're seeing right now, Marshall, as we move on?
It's
extraordinary. Extraordinary.
It's not only extraordinary, it works. Because what do you do? How do you handle your rabid, liberal, leftist base?
Right.
You bring out Hillary to tell you the truth.
You season it with a little moderate war hawk, feminist, Rotten Box Clinton talking points, and then that's what you do. You season it on there, and it controls what? the narrative. It actually decouples the narrative.
It totally blows them away.
Yeah, it does. We'll get to a couple more things. We got like 10 minutes. So CNN is stunned as a bombshell poll reveals Democrats hate America. Of course they hate America. They hate everything.
How patriotic are Americans?
They hate America.
With us now, CNN chief data analyst.
We will always remember Lexington and Concord, people.
You can't vote for a Democrat. If you vote for a Democrat, you hate America.
The 4th, we know which one is more important. But the meaning of the 4th, when we ask voters about this, what do most of them say at this point?
This, to me, is one of the most stunning divides that we have seen. You know, we're talking about polarization in politics. It even comes down to what you believe July 4th actually is. Like, what does July 4th mean to you? Celebrate America, friends and family time. Among Republicans, what do you see? You see the clear majority say it's a time to celebrate America, 65%. Among Democrats, however, the plurality disagree. Look at that. What do you see? Friends and family time at 42% versus just 24% who say that what it means most for them is to celebrate America. So even on the basic question of what July 4th means to you, we have Republicans on one end saying celebrate America, more of them say that, and Democrats on the other end saying that it means more to them to have time with friends and family.
What do they say about the flag?
Yeah, okay, so what do they say about the flag? Even on the basic level of flag,
ugly.
Look at this. Look at how we have an increasing polarization on this issue. We'll display the flag on July 4th, the American flag. Back in July of 2001, look at this. You had 68% of Republicans, 65% of Democrats saying that they would, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. You come over to this side of the screen, Republicans basically are where they were 25 years ago, right? 64%. But look at that Democratic percentage, absolutely plummeting, just 27%.
So that gives you an inside window. I'll continue on with it, that anybody that is a Democrat, they hate this country. They hate this country. And I say to people all the time, in the primary basin coming up, if your primary winner in the Republican contingency didn't win, you have to hold your nose whether you like the candidate or not. I know I'm going to have to do it in Florida. Okay. You can't vote for a Democrat. They are the antithesis, and they also present not only a problem to upset their base and their apple cart in an area that could be very red in some way. They are a disease, okay? They are like a virus, a parasite, a tick. And what we're seeing right now is that we don't want these types of ticks and viruses and parasites to spread out in red areas. And so what they're saying right now is that there are many people in this country. If 27% is an illustration of what I say all the time, there's about 20 to 25% of this country that's completely lost. I think that what we're seeing right now from Harry Eaton and CNN is really showcasing you is that it might be a little bit far greater. It could be 27%, could be 30%. You know, Grok is saying we're at like 360 million in this country. Minus the illegals, you drop off about 90 million of the illegals, and then you separate that, you bifurcate that, and then you differentiate that by the percentage of people that hate this country that are Democrats, and there you go, that vote. And it's quite a bit. And I'm thinking right now we're at 27%, 30% of an electorate populace that hates this country, hates America. And you know what? They're going to continue on with their violence and their vengeance and their vitriol. And you know what? It's up to you. You're going to have to decide what you think is best. Do you love your country more than you love your politics? Do you love your country more than anything else? Don't get it twisted. We understand about the political basin of Congress and the Senate and politics in general. But for the life of you, the life of me, life of us, how can you not love your country when we see videos upon videos that my video was banned on YouTube because I was displaying how many great Europeans are coming over, white Europeans are coming over, celebrating America and everything it has to offer. And it was blocked. And they're going to take my show down on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Push back. Fuck them. Fuck them. We are no longer going to settle for this shit. We have a black and brown problem. We have a Jew problem. We got problems all over the place because they want to replace you. They want to destroy the white Christian in you. And don't take the bait. Let's finish.
Of Democrats say they will, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. Democrats and Republicans in different camps, even on the simple question of displaying the flag on July 4th, a polarization, a split that simply put did not exist a generation ago.
What about this?
All right. I think that's enough, and I'm not going to play that. Let me get into other thing. Go ahead, Marshall, if you want to.
I think their Democrats also dropped their numbers though. So if you factor into the Democrats that have switched to independent or whatever, then that you factor that into that number he showed. There's not as many Democrats anymore. How they're winning these elections, there's something going on.
Right.
I just don't believe that those actual numbers are, they don't show everything,
Let me show you a couple more things and we're out of here. We'll get to what's up, Hogleg? Thank you so much for the cookie. Darla for the can. Foreigners are posting how great American is all over TikTok about our food. Huge flags. Yeah, I covered it. My video got banned. I fought back on YouTube and said, wait a minute, I've been posting all the stuff. It was sent to me, and I'm fighting this because they want to take it down. I have 100 views on it. I'll probably get more. I don't have a lot of followers. I have 98 subscribers, but to get that many views and people sharing that and discussing it was just amazing. And they want to take it down because that's who they are. I think
we should have an annual summer European invasion of America every year.
Oh, I like
Wouldn't that be great?
Well, I mean, it would be fantastic, but you're right.
The Europeans come every summer.
Foreigners are posting how great America is all over TikTok. And yes, I got penalized for it on YouTube. Push back on YouTube because I've been pushing back and saying you're going to take this down. And if I fight this, you could take down my whole platform. Fuck you and die. I'll fucking sue you, you cocksucking motherfucking bastards. Fuck these people. I'm not even a big name, but they want to fucking play, Jew around. But you know what? You're Jewing around with the wrong people. Because what? We're just showcasing what? They don't want to see that. So here we are at Defiant Else puts out Vance giving the truth about a dose about progressives who say believing in God is crazy people. But the same people will tell you that if a grown man takes hormonal therapy, they're going to become a woman. You believe something that's far crazier. I think this was a great illustration.
Look at progressive atheistic culture and say, for example, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, rose from the dead on the third day, there are a lot of progressives who will say, you're a crazy person, you believe in superstitions. And those same people will tell you that if a grown man takes some hormonal therapies that Big Pharma told them to take, that person will become a woman. It's like, actually, you believe something that's far crazier and clearly a violation of nature. Mm-hmm. And I think that there is this deep sense of purpose and meaning that everybody's seeking. And I think what's great, obviously I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say this, but what's great about Christianity is it's a healthy way to find meaning. Mm-hmm. If you try to find all of your meaning in politics, or you try to find all of your meaning in worldly things, I think it has a very distorting effect. And again, that's part of how I found my way back to faith. Because I was an atheist, I thought I was better than everybody, and I realized, you know what? This is actually not making me a very good person.
It's not making you a happy person either, and I think that's a really good. Again, JD Vance on the Gutfeld show, he was all over Marshall, and I have to tell you right now, I'm completely impressed with him, how he carried himself, how he explained himself, and how he pushed back about a lot of different narratives and stuff. I'll finish up with the Negro news. I can't end with the Negro news. I got to end with the Negro news. Thank you, Darrell, again for the can. Hog Lake 71. Thank you for the can.
That's Negro.
Yeah, I got to get to the ghetto or Negro news. Because let's put it this way. They're an eyesore. They're a herpes. They're a blemish on America. As we've seen, how many people in this country that came over here from Europe celebrating the World Cup, that were classy, that just loved America, but yet we have a ghetto class of people I'd say a large amount out of the 13-14% contingent of Black Americans that reside in this country. The ages of 13 and 34 are garbage human beings, and they should be dispatched with, either put in jail, hung, or shot because they're violent criminals, and they won't stop. They're disgusting human beings, and they should not get any quarter in my mind. And, you know, as I feel, I'm not generalizing it, all that, because I'm sure there are good Black people that are older and stuff, but let's face it, a man with 35 prior arrests, with more than 100 prior charges, stabbed a pregnant woman in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, Charlotte, North Carolina, an actual satanic bastion of violent Black people who cannot control themselves, that have mental disease, mental retardation. And every time I showcase this, we go back to Zarina Zarutska and what is taking place. If you're white, get out of there. It's garbage city. Black people that live in Charlotte are garbage human beings. Maybe Israel should drop a bomb over there. Maybe they should do a false flag over there. I think people wouldn't even think twice about it. His name is Paul Abdul Hicks. He's 31 years old. There you go. Is inside the age group. Assaulted a 26-year-old pregnant woman outside a restaurant in Northeast Charlotte. Police say he used a knife, his hands, his feet, his teeth. Look at these things. Now, let's continue with this.
A Charlotte man is facing multiple charges in connection with an attack on 2 people, including a pregnant woman. This happened outside a Northeast Charlotte restaurant. Paul Hicks faced a judge for the first time today. He's facing 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon and a charge of assault on a pregnant woman. Hicks is being held in jail without bond.
Queen City. Let me just say this. The turnstile justice system that we have in these blue city fiefdoms, and North Carolina is one of them. I mean, honestly. I mean, why aren't you carrying a gun? I mean, if you're not carrying a gun and you're not packing, okay, in this state of Florida, there's no nigger going to overrun me. There's no nigger or these young fucking, whatever you want to call them, teen things, Black teen. They're not. It's not going to happen. But when I see all these other areas that are kind of like a fuselage of blowing up and stuff, I don't see anybody wanting to riot or anybody wanting to blow down this thing. North Carolina is ripe with garbage shit. And I'm completely shocked. Charlotte is just basically Black discourse on what? The fact is, it's completely controlled by a niggerdom fiefdom. And they have no problem allowing their fucking monkey animals to run wild into the Serengeti on their streets to murder white people. And nothing's being done about it. And again, excuse me, hold on a second. We address this all the time. And I'm called a racist all the time. But yet no one is wanting to talk about this, Marshall. Please.
Look at the judges and who puts these judges in place. I hate to say it, but it's a little country over in the Middle East. Yeah. They put these judges, they use their money, they put them in so they can use their pit bull. They used their pit bull. They walked him like a dog to attack white Christians.
Right. And that's the point of this thing. I think it's a lot bigger than we're understanding about what's going on with Iran, what's going on with the invasion of this country, about the white replacement, and how they're allowing so many white people to get murdered just singly all over the place, and using certain judges and the turnstile justice system that is allowed to go on and on and on. And then when you call it out, you're a racist. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm completely a racist, and I am completely devoid of your fucking what? Caring about the fact that I'm a racist. Because I'm going to tell you right now, any of these monkeys rolled up in me, I would fucking dome them in a canoe. Okay? I wouldn't care. I don't even think twice about it. I look at Black people in general, ages between 13 and 34, maybe in are the most vicious, violent, disgusting, human shit that have no empathy, no sympathy, no what? And I'm going to prove it to you. A Black teen content creator known for making white people rage bait videos have been arrested at Indianapolis Walmart after repeatedly refusing orders to leave the store. Good. Look at this little fucking niglet fucking cry.
It's a me, cuz.
Watch.
I to them. And then what? Don't touch me. And then what?
Don't touch me. You're a tough guy.
And then what? I won't.
Take a fucking bat, break your fucking head open like a watermelon.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Stop touching me. Don't touch me. Stop touching me. Stop touching me, bro. Stop touching me.
Stop killing white people, nigger. Stop killing white people, nigger. Stop killing white people, nigger. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. They don't want to be touched, but they got no problem stabbing you.
Yo, who gonna make me? Go. Stop touching me, cuz. Go. Stop touching me, bro. About to go in handcuffs.
Put him in handcuffs.
Get a fucking asshole.
Can't touch me.
He needs his ass beat hard.
Yeah. They think they can get away with shit because they think in some way.
That's
Carmelo
why.
Anthony is their new George Floyd. These little fucking bastards are going to get a beatdown. Man,
That's what it's going to take, Brett. That's the
I
only
wouldn't want to
way
shoot him.
out.
I just take a baseball bat or hang the motherfucker after I beat him to death. Look at this monkey nigger.
Even the black
Shut the
girls
fuck.
don't want him.
He's actually telling the woman to shut the fuck up. He called her a nigger.
Yeah, she's trying to get him
He
out.
actually
too.
told the woman that is an employee there. He disrespected the female because that's what they do. Because they think they're allowed to do it. It's okay. And so that doesn't. It's just trash. It's just garbage. Look, this is the new Negro news that we're facing on a daily basis. Ages between 13 and 34 are garbage human beings of the black culture. And what there are is they're being what? They're being pushed into this narrative because subjectively, somehow, some people are paying them or talking to them into this modus operandi to commit violent crimes. That, hey, look, there's a turnstile of justice, and that they're able to get away with it. They're not able to get away with it. They're not. We are now on the offensive. And I'm telling everybody to employ vigilante justice. Employ it. Dude, it doesn't happen really in Florida in this matter because we wouldn't waste any time. They know. These people know. They know. They step out of line. They do something stupid. They're going to get popped. We can walk around, carry, and we don't even need consent. We just need to fucking what? Hey, he tried to mug me. I shot him in the fucking head. I canoed him. Who gives a flying fuck of shit? They're a piece of shit. They're trash culture. Everything about them, because they have no family, they have no upbringing. There is nothing good about these people. The future that portends for them is not going to be good. They're going to be left by the wayside, and we're going to have to deal with them like we deal with zombies. We're a zombie nation. I'm just being honest. What is going to be done about this? You're telling me they're going to grow up and they're going to learn and change in some way? In what culture? In what reality? What, through college? You think they can afford $100,000? Well, unless DI pays for it? Tell me in what world are they going to grow up and mature and realize not? No, they're only going to learn it from jail.
You can't expand the brain that you've been given, that you were born with.
No.
You can't expand it.
You can only make it worse.
You don't have a frontal lobe. There's nothing you can do.
You can only make it worse. And here it is, Marshall. As we're seeing tonight, Black Americans have started a trend calling the Austin Bop, where they dance to a song made up about Austin Metcalf's death while reenacting the stabbing that they claimed his life.
Austin Bop, knife had blood on the tip when he dropped. How the fuck he's gonna stop me and shit? Niggas going out back, Marlo off the box. That sound when he died. The fuck with his flow, but I got side. Nigga go text my phone, talk about he don't like my shit. He got stopped by a knife.
I hate niggers. It's okay. I hate black people, young black people. I hate them all. They're garbage human beings. The parents don't want to take care of them. This is the culture that is, and the one rapper that was pissing on Austin Metcalf's grave, which is basically, singly that the bottom line is that you're pissing on someone's dead grave. You are an evil, sick person, was arrested. All these other fucking monkeys that are chimping out in some way, either they go to jail or they get blasted. I don't care. One way or another, we need to bring back as much of vigilante justice, hanging, firing squads. I don't even care. I don't want to be around these people. Most of white Americans and Japanese and Koreans and many other people, Hispanics, want to stay far away from it. And it is an age group between 13 and 34, maybe even 40, that act out this type of anger in some way. It doesn't matter. The point is simply the potential violent is the young brethren of this let's just say, entanglements that we deal with on a daily situation that don't love this country, that hate this country, that are basically put in front of us on a daily basis. They think Walmart is racist. They think everything is racist because they were taught this at a young age, and they will grow up in prison or shot dead because they can't get around what? The fact is that whatever was preached to them is led to their demise, and their demise will be something that we will glorify in the future to showcase as a what? A historical lesson to future young black people. If you act like this, if you continue to be like this, this is what we're going to show you as your what? End result. So either be a part of the system and the culture and not be violent and chip out, or you know what? You're going to be dead or in jail. Because either way, I don't really fucking care. And that's my time, Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten worse.
Yeah, go ahead. Please
it's
continue.
gotten worse. It's gotten worse than.
And how so? How so?
The racial thing with these young kids, they have been brought up. I think it all started really with Obama.
Yeah.
The cops acted stupidly because they were white. Let's go have a beer,
with Brown and David
and
Wilson.
then the George Floyd thing, they blew up with the golden casket. How could you put that? The whole thing, they have been trained to hate since they were born. To hate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got these mothers going to Walmart, bringing their little kids to help them steal shit.
Right. I mean, there's a family that I just forget what area it was that stole a bunch of fucking Pampers. They took off and a cop shoot the window and happened, and then they blame the cop.
The baby inside,
because they tried to run over the cop. Hey, look, here's the point. If you don't steal, your baby's not going to get shot. Your window's not going to get shot. People are done with you. You're going to run over a cop. You're going to try and kill a cop. You're going to get shot. I don't fucking care. Hey, it's one less black baby that's going to grow up, that's going to murder, rape, and kill, because you know what? You're not going to be good parents. You know what? Look, as much as what Hillary Clinton said, and Darla, I want to thank you for the can, grow a pair and put your foot down instead of leave like a bunch of cowards. I mean, Hillary Clinton, she raged against black people left and right. She talked about the whole thing about what? Discovering Margaret Sanger and talking about abortion, and because look, if you let this type of virus grow out like Aliens, like the actual movie Aliens, that's what the disease effect that we're going to face. And she was saying that. I'm wondering if she's so wrong about that. Even though I'm pro-life and I don't promote killing babies in some way, it's about the upbringing. It's about having parents. It's about having grandma. It's about having a life source to educate and train people. But I believe right now, the generation that is raising children, that is below my class, the Gen X, that are below the Gen X, that are the millennials and having kids out of wedlock and whatever. There's no fathers, no mothers, no grandparents, and they're allowed to go unencumbered to commit whatever they want to do. And look, when a 12-year-old is running around with a gun, we got a fucking problem. We got a fucking problem. And you know what? That kid's going to get shot by a cop or by a civilian. You know why? Because a 12-year-old shouldn't have a gun. And if you think you want to play games, jump around, pissing on Austin Metcalf's death and all these other things, well, you know what? You deserve it. You know what? No one is going to look twice anymore about the death about black people because we've had enough. We've had enough. Okay? I'm not going to celebrate it, but I don't really care about it. And all I'll say is right now, maybe it's justice coming that should have been done a long time ago, because you don't want to jail these people. You don't want to punish these people. But the bottom line is the justice on the streets shall take vengeance. And that's my point, Marshall.
I'm going to close out on a different note. Don't forget about the soccer game Friday at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Support your country. You know, come on, let's go. Let's get the American pride going. Brett, thanks for having me on tonight. I appreciate
You're welcome, and I want to thank everybody out there for donating to the platform, the leaderboard. Here it is. Darla L 1.4, Thea 1.3, Wood USA at 1,000. Thank you all for supporting the platform. If you want to support Marshall on the way out, Ko-Fi.com/SurfDog74. I want to thank everybody out there being persistent, being prudent, being on it. I hope that we were able to answer your conversations. I shall return on Friday, okay, with the call-in show. And then if you have any other questions and thoughts, please call in. We shall see you very soon. Good night. God bless. Be well. Be safe. Don't play with midgets. Especially don't hang out with young black children. They might kill you. Oh. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.